Welcome to Dallas, Texas for the SFL home opener between the New York Knights and the Dallas Stars.
The 13. Red Feather to throw. Red Feather caught. Touchdown. 15 seconds to go. The MVP is well deserved.
Out of the gun, Corky to the bottom of the screen. Down to 15 seconds left. Zuli back to pass. He's going to Corky. It is caught. And he puts it back. Are you serious? Touchdown, DC! Greg Corky is your MVP.
Unique, and I think the more people that tune into it are gonna find out that, man, this is like I just saw a post earlier. Forget, what else is going on TV. I got an SFL game coming on.
You got a pretty good lead here.
Wilson to pass. Wilson going long. Got a man. K.O. Barrett 40, 30, 20. Let's go downfield and let's get a championship. Mexico City's up 20.
Wow.
Mexico City came to win this game.
Wow.
No fear.
So I'm Matt Wilson. I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm 37 years old. Bringing people together through any sort of media or medium is important because it allows us to connect with people that we wouldn't have met before. To be honest with you, I think they're going to take over.
11 Sports and the Simulation Football League welcome you to Queensway in London across the pond, the site for a Week 4 matchup between the Houston Hyenas at 1-2 and the London Knights at 2-1. Welcome into the broadcast booth, everybody. Chris Curtis and Andy Hamilton ushering in a new era of SFL football on 11 Sports.
SFL Winter 2020 Rookie Draft, Mexico City Aztecs select Phoenix Jones, fullback. Come on up, Phoenix.
Thank you for tuning in wherever you are in the world. As we are just getting set to kick it off, the kicker, Cliff Allen for Lincoln, has the ball on the tee. At the 30-yard line, he's got his hand in the air. The whistle blows, and it's game on in the SFL's minor league for the very first time.
Hand off Warren Murray, and Murray's got a first down and more. Murray gets a block, breaks a tackle. This one's from Mama Murray. Warren swings, get him into the end zone. Touchdown, Baltimore.
And I guess my former teammate took it personal when I told them they were doing a great job of bottling.
A lot of special moments, and we hope to make some more tonight. Welcome to the SFL's Wild Card Weekend, the conclusion of it here on Next Level Sports, along with Tyler Falk. I'm Cameron Irvine. Some exciting playoff action already this weekend, but we're very much looking forward to this game tonight. Tyler, how's your weekend been treating you?
Well, for a few hours ago, absolutely superb. The folks at Next Level missed a fantastic ball game between Houston and Sioux Falls. We'll be talking about that game later. But in general, Cam, couldn't be happier for SFL Wildcard Weekend.
Yesterday on Next Level Sports, we had a defensive slugfest, and DC ended up pulling away from Minnesota. If you missed any of that action, we'll have the highlights for you at the half. But tonight, the Fort Worth Toros are back to conquer some demons, Tyler. And not just Fort Worth, but Cade Stevens back to conquer some old Vancouver Legion demons in the playoffs. He was ruled out of bounds. The famous Cade Stevens was in bounds, or lack thereof, call in Mexico City. But Vancouver hoping to shut the door on what has been a renaissance for the Fort Worth Toros. And at the beginning of the season, didn't really look like they had a whole lot going. And Marcus Dunhill really started cooking for this Fort Worth Toros offense. And they come in firing on many cylinders here into this ball game tonight, Tyler.
Yeah, like you mentioned, they lost their first 3 out of 5 games this season. And all of a sudden, they turned things around week 7. Marcus Dunhill comes alive. He's actually on his best ever season when it comes in terms of his completion percentage. He's got just over 76.4% completion percentage this season, his best so far in his career. And Fort Worth will be looking for him to have an excellent ball game, as will be looking for their defense, which in seasons past, especially their second season in the league, which saw them make the playoffs and lose to Vancouver, their defense has to be in charge and will be led by Jeff Duffy in the top 10 in tackles for loss. Fort Worth's woes in the last couple seasons have been well noted, and Vancouver will have to prey on that well. And the last time these two teams met, there was a different signal caller in the blue and white. Christian Brown takes over for Tom Pepper this season. He has a pretty good season with Vancouver in his first season taking over for Tom Pepper. He's number 3 in QBR coming into this ball game with 97.9. His yards, completion percentage, TDs, and lack of interceptions all within the top 10, and they've kept him clean. He's also top 10 in least sacks this season. Robert Redford has been stellar. What else can be said about Mr. Double R? Another stellar season for him. And then the big thing on defense is how much and how often will they be able to get to Marcus Dunhill. Achilles Papatonis and Gerald Giudice combined have 42 tackles for loss. That's exactly half the total number of tackles for loss that Vancouver have as a whole this season.
Yeah, the Greek Nightmare on the D-line and Giudice, they're very underrated. And, I think in the offseason, Tyler, when Vancouver announced that Tom Pepper was going to be retiring and that it was Christian Brown who was going to be taking over, Brown had not necessarily had a stellar career up to that point, had been drafted by St. Louis, had guaranteed that he wasn't ever going to leave, and then he left and then got flack for it. And in my opinion, kind of unfairly, or the media piled on to him, let's say, and so he goes to Vancouver, and I think the expectations were pretty low. And it's really interesting how he has sort of made this offense his own, as he has found Chris Curtis. I mean, that's his favorite target, and it's not been Brett Killian this season. It's been Chris Curtis just playing excellently, and this Vancouver offense is still high-powered, 6th straight season scoring over 30 points per game, but they are doing it a little bit differently with a very smart signal caller, underrated signal caller, I think, in Christian Brown, Tyler.
And when you talk about that wide receiving core, yes, Killian, BK12 is taking a back seat to Chris Curtis, but in general, that wide receiving core is cooking on all cylinders. You might look at Chris Curtis and Brett Killian, but look at the production that Justice Blackwell has had and Robert Redford has had coming out of the backfield. This wide receiving core is second best in terms of total yards and average receiving yards in the league. And so, like you said, smart signal caller, not afraid to check it down to Robert Redford, and he makes confident throws, which is crucial for Vancouver, which they've had Tom Pepper, who's been that guy. So for Christian Brown to slot in for Tom Pepper, it's like Vancouver really haven't had too many stumbles this season. It's exactly what the folks north of the border love to see.
And the stumbles that Vancouver has had have been against great football teams. They've lost to D.C., who got a win, is in the quarterfinals. They lost to Baltimore, who's into the quarterfinals, right? This team, when the lights are the brightest, like they are tonight on national television, Vancouver steps up and plays big. I would expect to see a lot of great plays from them tonight. And Marcus Dunhill, a legend in his own right, back in the playoffs. Of course, won that championship with Atlanta in season 14, retired for a while, went back to Jacksonville. This really feels like his chance to reinsert himself into the major headlines of the SFL. And, we're looking forward to see how he plays tonight as well. We got the Cowboy, Robert Garrett Jr., the Greek Nightmare, a lot of great personalities, a lot of great players, Chris Curtis as well on the field tonight, Brett Killian. All the usuals are here tonight for a big one. It's Fort Worth and Vancouver, and it's coming up next. Tim Hackett, Anthony Ellison on the call. Gonna be a great one. We'll see you back here after this commercial break. The Wild Card Playoffs continue next.
Next Level Sports welcomes you to the following presentation of the Simulation Football League.
Wild Card weekend in the Simulation Football League wraps up on the West Coast. The Fort Worth Toros are back in the SFL playoffs for the first time since season 16. And tonight, they face the team that knocked them out of the playoffs 3 seasons ago, the Vancouver Legion, who are trying to win a playoff game for the 6th season in a row. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Kings Coast Stadium in Vancouver, British Columbia. Alongside producer extraordinaire Cameron Irvine and Tyler Falk in the studio, our statisticians Ethan Kai and Tristan Hatley, and my partner Anthony Ellison. I'm Tim Hackett. You're watching the Simulation Football League presented by APM Music live on Next Level Sports. Happy to have you with us. First and foremost, Anthony, welcome to the SFL playoffs where anything can happen and anything often does.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm so excited. This is my first playoff game, and I'm expecting a really good one with 2 great teams. So thank you for having me.
My pleasure. I'm thrilled to be here with you. And Vancouver, unlike us, Anthony, is no stranger to the postseason. This is now 6 straight seasons in the playoffs for Vancouver and for head coach and owner Andy Hamilton. But it's a little bit of a new-looking team for them this year. As Cameron and Tyler talked about pregame, brand new quarterback, new looking offense, but a lot of the mainstays are there for Vancouver. This is one of the best teams in this league, and they're back in the playoffs once again.
And you can tell this is a great system. The new quarterback comes in, fits right in with the offensive system for the coach, and looks like they haven't skipped a beat at all as they're back in the playoffs.
Meanwhile, Fort Worth, a couple of down seasons where they totaled 7 wins over the last 2 SFL seasons. This year, they're 7-5, and they are back in the playoffs for the 2nd time in their franchise history. At the scene where they lost their most recent playoff game in season 16 against these Vancouver Legion, Fort Worth has not been back to the postseason since. That has changed, and the Toros on the road will get the ball to start. The Toros in the all gold, they're the number 11 seed. Vancouver at home, they are the number 6 seed, and the final game of Wild Card weekend is underway. So Stephen Hacker and Luis Gonzalez, longtime friends, they wanted to build an SFL team for the first time, so they did. Coming over from Queen City ahead of season 15, did Stephen Hacker to join the guy they call Nacho Sicario here in Fort Worth and build a team in their hometown, and joining a host of other teams in the SFL state of Texas. And Fort Worth was solid in its first season in season 15, then made the playoffs in its second season in season 16. Down the last 2 years, but they are back, and here's a big reason why. Jason Williams, the featured tailback, one of the most used running backs in the league, Anthony, 4th in the league in carries this season.
And that is a absolutely fantastic start. This is what you want to see. You want to run the ball. You want to establish your offense and make the defense aware that, look, we came to play. We came to run the ball. So that's a great way to start.
Again, that's something that Fort Worth does very well. Williams 4th in the league in carries, but 13th in yards. They will go to him again, and Jason Williams has the first down. 2 runs up the middle, and exactly what you talked about, Anthony, setting up the ground game early.
And if I'm Vancouver, I want to stop that. He did not get touched until 6 yards down the field. That's going to open up a play action. It's going to open up the passing game for Fort Worth.
There's a look at Stephen Hacker, Fort Worth's number 1 wide receiver, but he's ceded a lot of that look this season to Cade Stevens, a former Vancouver Legion wideout. Williams again with the carry and not much doing for him here. Let's introduce you to the Fort Worth offense for head coach Luis Gonzalez. Marcus Dunhill is the quarterback, league veteran, former SFL champion. Jason Williams is the tailback. Jay-Z Bacon is their other tailback, a rare construction here in the SFL. They have 2 rostered halfbacks. Aaron Alexander is the fullback. Stephen Hacker, Cade Stevens, Charlie Baker, the wideouts, and the tight end is Robert Garrett Jr. Gain of 2 on that play for Jason Williams. He's been used exclusively so far. They will toss it out to Williams, who gets smacked at the line by cornerback Dean Maddox. No gain.
That is a fantastic tackle right there. Open field, broke down. Was able to stop him in his ground, make sure he didn't get any extra yards. Fantastic tackle by the cornerback.
Talk about a safety valve. Jason Williams caught 89 passes this season. That was 10th most among all players, not just running backs, all players, on 89 targets. Every single time Dunhill threw to him, he caught it. Dunhill will throw on third down, and it's incomplete. A lot of traffic over the middle. He was going for Cade Stevens. Major Key, the veteran, on the coverage, and it's fourth down.
Dunhill got away with it right there. That was a dangerous pass. You want to be careful. That safety was lurking right in the middle. Almost interception. Almost back for 6 for Vancouver.
Fort Worth has been excellent on third downs this season, north of 60% hit rate, third best mark in the league, but they fail on their first opportunity here tonight. Major Key, a former safety, moving over to cornerback this season and makes the play. So the first punt from Ray Einhorn. Turnable here, and out to the 35-yard line goes Justice Blackwell, former Florida Storm wide receiver, his first season playing here for Vancouver. Vancouver this offseason needed a quarterback, which was the first time that this squad had said that in a couple of years. Tom Pepper had been the signal caller here for half a dozen seasons, and he retired in the offseason, so an opening at that position. In steps Christian Brown, drafted by the St. Louis Gladiators, spent his first 3 seasons there, made overtures last season. He was ready to leave. Leave he did, and he's joined one of the best franchises in recent league history, his first season here, and his first pass of this postseason is caught by Robert Redford, the 10th season tailback in the SFL, for a gain of 2.
Definitely big shoes to fill, but looks like Christian Brown did a fantastic job this season, keeping the team where they want to be in the playoffs.
Pepper was the quarterback here over 2 stints, most recent stint spanning the last 7 seasons, again in the playoffs in each of the last 5. Brown now under center for Vancouver, getting them back to the playoffs, and he'll check it down to Redford again, and nothing doing on that one either. No gain, really, maybe even a loss of 1 on the tackle by J.L. Browning.
Fourth work came to play on defense right there. 2 solid tackles right there. It's going to set up a long third and 8.
Vancouver's been okay on third downs this season. One of the best offenses in the SFL, no surprise, has been the case for seasons on end. 3rd and 8 for Brown, under pressure, fires deep over the middle, and it's caught inside the 40-yard line. A big play from Christian Brown, and it's caught by Hector Huxley. The rookie is Vancouver's number 4 wide receiver, and he's got the biggest catch of his career.
It showed no nerves right there. That rookie was ready to play, but fantastic blocking by the offensive line that gave the quarterback the time to throw the ball down the field.
What a play. Welcome to the league, Hector Huxley, Vancouver's first-round pick, 24th overall from Lexington. You see it there, just 12 catches in the regular season, and he makes a catch on Vancouver's first drive of the postseason. Here's Robert Redford, his first run of the day, right guard, and picks up 12 yards. That is something that he can do about as well as anybody in league history, Anthony.
And that was just a beautiful run, shot right between the right guard and the right tackle. They were looking for a pass. He ran for a first down before he even got touched. Great run.
Gain of 12 for Redford. That play to Huxley went for 24. This Vancouver offense, it just looked like it was scuffling there for a second, but no longer. Inside the 30 on their first possession. Great snap and all day for Brown. He'll toss it out this way, and Brett Killian makes the catch, breaks through a tackle, and gets inside the 15-yard line.
Once again, great protection right there. Brown had all the time in the world. Looks like they were playing a softer coverage right there, and it was an easy out route, and he was able to turn up the field to get close to that, to get to the first down.
Fort Worth is a decent team in terms of sacks, league average sacks this season, but they really only sent 3, and that gave Brown all the time in the world to link up with Brett Killian, one of the best wide receivers in SFL history, for a gain of 14. Vancouver now inside the SFL red zone for the first time tonight. We imagine not the last time. Brown hits Killian. Killian now springs back, and it gets stopped just short of the magic yellow line by a pair of Toros, including J.L. Browning. Another big gain for Brett Killian.
Fort Worth need to make a stop right here. All the momentum right now is Vancouver. They are driving. They are getting every yard they want to on this play, on this drive.
Let's see if they go back on the ground. Redford is in there, as well as the fullback Sawyer Stern. 2nd and inches. Here's the give to Redford. Redford, first down, and not much more. Delaney Nash makes the stop, but it will be 1st and goal for the Legion.
Once again, another first down. That's all you need right there. It's not about the big plays. This is about getting the first down and tiring out the defense, and that's what Vancouver's doing right now. I would look to go back to the run, try to stuff it in for 7.
Again, from the split back set, Vancouver will pack it. So will Fort Worth trying to defend. Here's the give. Up the middle, touchdown to Vancouver. The Legion strike first at home. Robert Redford is into the end zone once again.
And we talk about it the whole time, setting the tone for your offense. Now your defense is going to go back out there, and they're going to be amped. They're going to be ready to play. Beautiful dive play right behind the left guard. He didn't even get touched in the end zone. Beautiful run. What a way to start the game.
Another blockbuster for Robert Redford, who is second in SFL history all-time in career rushes, career rushing yards, and career rushing touchdowns, trailing only BDG Hollywood in all of those categories. That is career touchdown number 133 for one of the league's bests. PAT from Chance to Win is good, and I can tell we are birds of a feather here, Anthony, because they set up that ground game after that third down and long where they had to throw that deep pass to Hector Huxley, and then after that, they really went back to the ground game to try to get Redford rolling, and get rolling he did.
And that's a fantastic thing. On Fort Worth, I'm maybe thinking about putting extra people in that front 7 right there because they got gashed pretty bad from that running game. So it's all about, let's see how Fort Worth can bounce back from that.
Early giveaway from Fort Worth on the punts set up that drive for Vancouver. You see it there. 8 plays capped off by that 2-yard rushing score from Robert Redford, who had 11 rushing touchdowns this regular season. And he gets Vancouver on the board first. No real surprise. This Legion team has been here and done that, and Fort Worth making a welcome return. Every single member of their division, the South Division, in the postseason this season. First time that's happened in league history. Dunhill throws, and it's picked off! What a snag! Right near the 20-yard line. It's ripped away by Michael Lister.
This is a big-time play right there. Vancouver saw the route, able to jump it. Beautiful play by number 30 right there. And once again, Vancouver's back on the field. Fort Worth defense is really tired. It was hoping it would catch a break. Let's see. Vancouver running game is doing really well, so let's see if they can keep it up.
And guess who they were going for on that play? They were going for Jason Williams out of the flats. And that pass was picked off. That's his first target this season that has not been caught because it was caught by Michael Lister. And now on the ground, here's Redford, fresh off of scoring that touchdown, 30 seconds ago? And he gets a gain of 2.
I'm full for it. I'm talking on the sideline, keeping the offense encouraged, like it's going to be all right. Fort Worth coming up here with a defensive stop will help them, maybe hold them to a field goal, if not less.
Lister had 4 interceptions in the regular season. Vancouver not a great takeaway team, but they got one here. They'll toss it out. There's Redford, and he steps out of bounds. Was led out there by Christian Brown. So let's introduce you to the Vancouver offense for head coach Andy Hamilton. Christian Brown is the quarterback. Robert Redford, the tailback. Sawyer Stern is the fullback. Quadruple wide receiver setup with Brett Killian, Chris Curtis, Hector Huxley, and Justice Blackwell. And the tight end is James Walters. Vancouver in the red zone for the second time in about a minute. Third down for Brown. They will spread it out. Brown fires left seam, and it's caught into double coverage. It's ripped down by Justice Blackwell. Off-season pickup from the Florida Storm. His first season playing for the team based north of the border, and he's got a first down.
And great job by Blackman. Holding on to that football. Was in traffic, took the hit, and we got another first down.
Vancouver will spread it out once again. 4 wides and Walters the tight end. Brown all day. Shallow cross. That's caught by Blackwell again. Second straight catch for the third-year wide receiver. 2nd and goal.
New drive, and we have a new type of thing. They're looking at the passing now. They see that the spread offense is spreading out. The defense for Fort Worth, they see some openings right there. So they're mixing it up. They're showing different looks on offense.
They had 1st and goal from the 3 just a minute ago, and they ran it twice. So now 2nd and goal from the 3. They will bring Redford back in. Brown will toss it out to Redford, and he scores! Untouched! Another blockbuster for the natural, and Vancouver extends the lead.
All set up at that interception right there. That was really tough for Fort Worth. They were playing with their backs against the wall. They were tired right there. Beautiful job by Brown to find the open receiver. We got another 6 on the board.
Vancouver turns the turnover into points, and that has been a huge problem for the Toros this season. Not something that has been par for the course for them this year, over the course of their franchise history, but this season in the regular campaign, Fort Worth was minus 11 in turnover differential. That was 25th in a 28-team league. Last year they were 3rd in the league at plus 9. This season minus 11. And they give it up on that pick by Michael Lister. And shortly thereafter, Vancouver marches down the field and turns it into 7 points.
Regardless of how well your offense is, when you give it up, when you turn over the ball that much, it's really tough to be competitive, to stay in the games. You got to limit the turnovers as much as you can in every game, so it can be a good one for you.
Marcus Dunhill didn't even throw all of that many interceptions. He was right about league average in terms of giveaways himself this year, but fumbles have hurt Fort Worth at times this year. You don't see teams fumble very much in the SFL, but that has cost Fort Worth at times, including last week against Houston. Jason Williams dropped the ball on a run, and Houston ended up scoring on that succeeding possession, and you can argue that that was the turning point in the game that allowed Houston to win, knock Fort Worth down to this number 11 seed. Houston ended up being a higher seed. They were in action earlier today against Sioux Falls. The home team has won every wild card game so far, and Vancouver at home up 14-0 after that turnover turned into 7 points. Here's Williams, lowers the shoulder and gets about 2.
And I'm really glad that they went to the running game. You don't want to panic. You don't want to start throwing the ball, because then that's going to be in favor of Vancouver. Stick to your game plan and just chip away at it.
I mentioned the home team has won all 3 wildcard games so far, but Tyler Falk in the studio telling us Vancouver is the first of those home teams to score in the first quarter. And they've already scored twice. Dunhill, top of the screen. That's caught, and a first down for the Toros. So again, that run game sets up the pass game, Anthony, and Stephen Hacker has his first catch.
It's so important if you can get the run game, because what it does is now they're going to put extra people in the box. The receiver is going to be one-on-one with the DBs on the outside, and you'll get good yardage. So the more you run the ball successfully, it's going to help your passing game out tremendously.
Williams was 4th in the league in carries, but Fort Worth is 3rd in the league in total team carries. There's a nice run for Williams, give him 6 when you add in what J.Z. Bacon and Aaron Alexander did. Now, they didn't do a lot, admittedly. They only combined for 33 carries and just over 100 rushing yards in the regular season. But as a team, Fort Worth was very committed to the ground, 3rd in the league in total carries and 10 total rushing touchdowns, which was just a bit better than league average. But when Dunhill threw the ball this year, he was extremely successful, 2nd best completion percentage. They will run it again. Williams has another first down right out to midfield where he's hit by Earl Fields.
And you can tell with being 3rd in the league in carries that they want to establish the run regardless of what's going on right here. Running the ball even for 3 to 4 yards. If you do that 2 to 3 times, that's going to get you a 3rd and 1. It's going to get you a first down. So the fact is that they want you to say, hey, we're going to do smash mouth football, and then we're going to set up the pass to make it easier for Dunhill.
Frank Burks, the rookie left guard, 77 in the Fort Worth Gold. Their first-round pick out of Tacoma, helping to stamp that rush out from the Legion. They'll toss it out. Williams, that's the similar play to what they just ran a minute ago that ended up getting picked off. That time it was caught, but for a short gain on a hit by Drew Hamilton.
Just got to be careful with those swing passes out there. Those DBs are sitting on the route, and that's what you don't want to see, because that's when interceptions happens and turnovers that you don't need in a playoff game.
Williams has been involved almost exclusively so far in this game. That catch to Stephen Hacker was the first time they went to somebody else. Now they will go back to Jason Williams. Spin move, lowers the shoulder, and is stopped a yard short of the first down line by Michael Lister, who just had that interception, but another flashy run after the catch for Jay Will.
And what it did right there, the receiver on the left side went towards the right, kind of like screening off the defender to make the swing route open for the running back right there. So that's a good play design.
Fort Worth was excellent on 3rd downs this season, 62%, 3rd in the league. They will run it Williams trying to go outside and hit from behind. He's stopped short. A gain of half a yard. Achilles Papatonis, one of the league leaders in TFLs, won't get one there, but he does get a third down stop, and it's fourth down. Fort Worth will challenge, though, Anthony. There's Luis Gonzalez on the Toros sideline. He will challenge it and see if the Toros picked up the yards.
Vancouver came up with a big play right there. Their defensive line was not going to be denied right there. Shed off the blocker, was able to have their friends come and tackle with them. That's a big play right there for Vancouver's defense.
Farnsey and Fields combined to help. Let's see where the ball goes down. Remember, the yellow line, as they always say, is an approximation. It looks short to me. What did you see?
It looks like they barely got over it. This could be an overturn right here.
Andy Hamilton pumped up on the sidelines. The call on the field stands. So Fort Worth is short by inches. Well, it's a brand new season for everybody, Anthony. My batting average on those review calls is abysmal in the regular season, but hey, it's the postseason. None of those stats count. I'm batting 1,000. Fort Worth will send the offense back out here. What do you think about this?
You got to get some type of momentum right here. Run the ball.
They will snap it. Williams is stopped in the backfield. Vancouver was ready for it. Cabrin Womack, the third season defensive end, blows up Jason Williams, and Vancouver gets the stop on fourth down.
Here's the thing. You have to block everybody. When you don't block everybody, 95 is wide open on the left-hand side, was able to tackle. That is tough right there for Fort Worth. Got to make sure helmet on helmet for everybody when it comes to that situation.
You saw Aaron Alexander, the fullback for Fort Worth, 25 in the gold. He was there trying to move forward on the left side of the screen to help lead a block for Williams, but Womack got there too fast and blew it up. So Vancouver right back on the ball. Brown's pass is caught by James Walters, veteran tight end in his fifth season here for Vancouver. Used to be the number 2 tight end and didn't used to be all that involved in the offense, Anthony, but over the last couple of seasons, he has really become a focal point, though he's kind of taken a step back in that regard this season. Only 1 receiving touchdown and 320 receiving yards, but he's involved here with a gain of 9.
Well, you know, tight ends are the quarterback's best friend right there, so if you can get the tight ends involved, not just in the running game, but in the passing game, it's a great thing for your offense.
Brown has completed every pass that he's attempted, as you see, and they'll go to Redford, and just enough. Right up the middle he goes. First down, Nacho Sicario on the stop, and that will do it. After 1 quarter, it is all Legion. A turnover and a turnover on downs, and 14 points for Robert Redford. And Vancouver leads it 14-0. You're watching the SFL presented by APM Music live on Next Level Sports. Get a shot of the mountains high above Vancouver, British Columbia. And for Fort Worth in that first quarter, when it snows, it pours, I guess, Anthony Ellison. It was all Vancouver in those first 11 minutes. But the Toros, plenty of time to get back into this thing.
Plenty of time. Just got to take it just step by step. You got to one play at a time.
Vancouver with a takeaway and a turnover on downs and 2 touchdowns for Robert Redford. That's the difference so far in this game. Here is Redford again, and he runs into the thick of the defense. Breaking through to make the TFL is J.L. Browning, along with Jeff Duffy, the veteran.
And that's a momentum there. That's what you want to do. You want to get a tackle for a loss right there. You want to go back to the huddle. You want to rile your team up and say, hey, we're still in this. We got 3 quarters left. Let's just play our game to how we got to here.
Good start on this possession for Fort Worth as we start the second quarter. Brown deep in the gun. He will fire over the middle. Swatted and intercepted on the carom by Ben Stone. And that is what Fort Worth needed. Talk about a momentum opportunity. A takeaway for Ben Stone. And the Toros got it back.
And I'm going back to the sideline and I'm telling the offense, look, we did our part. Let's go. Let's go get a touchdown now. Fantastic play by the safety right there. Brown got a little bit too excited with the throw. And now Fort Worth, this is your momentum change right here. This is what you need to do to get the ball rolling.
Risky throw from Christian Brown, uncharacteristic of him this season. Only threw 24 picks. That was 6th fewest in the league. Throws one here. Now Dunhill right back to work. Zips it, caught by Robert Garrett Jr., the veteran tight end, and now also part of this ownership group now for Fort Worth, joining Stephen Hacker and Luis Gonzalez here for the Toros, and he gets 9.
Let me talk about it again. Tight ends are your quarterback's best friend. If you can get a good chunk of yardage right there, now you can do anything you want to on second down. You can run the ball. You can pass the ball more because you did so well on first down.
Garrett's one of the best in the league, 3-time All-Star, including last season. His 5th season now with Fort Worth. On 2nd and 1, Dunhill gets hit and dropped. This Vancouver defensive line is on another level this season, Anthony. It hasn't always been one of the strengths of this team, but this season it has been, and a loss of 6 on second down.
It shred those blockers up front. Fantastic job by the defensive line right there. Make it a hard third down for Fort Worth.
I think that was Papatonis on that one. 3rd and 7 here for Dunhill. Over the middle, first down. Easy money that time for the Toros. Charlie Baker, 2nd season wideout for Fort Worth, has his first catch, and it's a first down.
Great job by Dunhill to stay composed after that sack. Sent a triple slant route right here. They couldn't guard everyone. Great protection, and what a way to get a first round.
Just the second play going to somebody other than Jason Williams on this Fort Worth offense. He's had 11 total touches, 1 catch for Hacker, 1 catch now for Baker, and 1 catch now for Garrett earlier this drive. Here's Garrett again. Same play that they ran on their first play of this possession, and it works again, Anthony. Right past Earl Fields, first down.
And right there, and I'm like, if I'm Fort Worth, I'm talking to myself, I'm taking it play by play. You're down by 14, but the cool thing is we got 3 quarters left. Take it yard by yard, play by play. You're still in this. Stick to your game plan.
Garrett, obviously the number 3 option on this Fort Worth offense. Again, one of the best offensive tight ends in the league. Here goes Jason Williams, runs into traffic, or check that. That is a carry out of the backfield for J.Z. Bacon. Not something we've seen a whole lot this season, Anthony. Just 21 carries for Bacon, the 2nd season tailback, and he's got one here in the playoffs, his playoff debut. It is a rare construction here in the SFL for a team to have 2 standout tailbacks. There's only a couple of teams that employ that philosophy. Fort Worth is one of them. Gain of 3 for Bacon. On the ground they go again. He cuts back up. That's Williams this time, and a gain of a couple. Here's the Vancouver defense. On the defensive line, we talked about them. They're very good this season. Achilles Papatonis, Cabron Womack, and Gerald Giudice. Linebackers Josh Farnsey, Earl Fields IV, and Marquise Reed. And in the secondary, has been a staple of this franchise. Major Key, Dean Maddox, Michael Lister, Mark Lopez, Will Stern, and Drew Hamilton. Another third down here for Fort Worth. None of those standout halfbacks on the field here. Dunhill looking for Garrett, swatted away. Josh Farnsey has been a standout for Vancouver. In his first 3 seasons in the league, he's made the All-Star game twice, and a big play on third down.
97 tackles for the season. He showed his versatility right there, playing in pass coverage. What a way to knock the ball down. and stopping all momentum for Fort Worth.
Unfortunately for the Toros, they will have to send Ray Einhorn on once again. So the Toros 0 for 4 on their possessions so far to starts. And they'll send the pressure, and Einhorn just barely gets it away. Returnable for Blackwell. He runs right into the thick of the defense. Great coverage. If you're new to the SFL, it's the Simulation Football League. It combines traditional sports, esports, and a role-playing game into one. Team strategies are being executed in real time by our simulations as real-life players compete on the virtual gridiron. For more information about the SFL, visit our website, www.simulationfl.net. The SFL, we put the fan in fantasy. And it's been a fantastic start to the game for Vancouver here at home. Deep in their own territory this time. Redford with the carry, and Robert Redford runs up for a gain of 11.
And that was just a straight up the middle. The blockers did what they need to, and that's just something that you've been seeing all game. Fort Worth needs to recognize that this is a problem, and they need to add more people in the box. That's a great run right there.
Been a good season for Redford, 10th in the league in carries and in yards, 1174 in the regular season, 12th in touchdowns with 11. Much better than he was last season. He had 200 more rushing yards here in season 19 than he did last season, but he's still down from the Redford-Vancouver heydays where he had 1,300 or 1,400 rushing yards perennially. Gets the give here and then is wrenched down by Delaney Nash, holding on for dear life and limiting Redford to a gain of 7.
When you have a running back that's averaging over 4 yards a carry, it makes the passing a lot easier. You don't need to force the ball down the field if you're Brown. If you have Redford that really is averaging that much on one touch.
Brown's first incompletion of the day was that pick on his last pass to Ben Stone. So they'll run it again to Redford, and Redford has the first down. Spinning away from Noah Regier, 3 straight runs, 2 first downs for Vancouver.
And now Redford is showing you your vision. He took it, he bounced it outside, and then he saw the defender coming down. He was able to spin inside for a first down right there. Great running by Redford.
Just to your point at the start of the game, Anthony, both of these teams have been favoring their running backs heavily. 12 touches in total for Williams, 13 touches in total for Redford. We just started the second quarter. Brown will throw. One-handed catch by Justice Blackwell. Welcome to Vancouver, sir. Gain of 8.
And there it is. That comes from setting up the run right there. There's a softening spot over the middle. The linebackers were confused right there, and a fantastic one-hand catch.
How about this for an even split? Our stats team telling us. Justice Blackwell, 24 yards on 3 catches. Brett Killian, 24 yards on 2 catches. Hector Huxley, 24 yards on 1 catch. That's crazy. Synchronicity at its finest. 2nd down and 2. Here goes Redford. Big hole for Robert Redford. Breaks out of the first hit and is brought down by Luther Gond on the second effort. Redford inside the 45.
So the Toros was like, okay, now we got to defend the pass. So they start playing pass coverage. They forgot about Redford. Fantastic blocking up front. I love it. You was able to see your 2 offensive guards go up and block the linebackers. And when it comes to that, that's going to be free yardage every single time.
Didn't shout them out earlier, but on the offensive line, Michael Percoco and Mike Coverson, the tandem here for a couple of seasons, left guard and left tackle respectively, helping pave the way for a great game so far for Redford. Brown will toss it up, poked away, looking for Brett Killian, and reaching in to just jab that away is Nacho Sicario.
And that was a play that the Toros was looking for right there. He identified the route, great hands on the ball. Could have been worse right there for Vancouver.
It's kind of in a similar area of the field, or at least in the same neck of the woods as that Michael Lister interception. It's nowhere near the same area of the field. They're in enemy territory now, or Fort Worth, rather than deep backed up towards their own end zone, but a similar looking play, different target, similar result. It's a swat for Nacho Sicario, his 9th season in the SFL. Deep drop for Brown, has time, throws, swatted away again! Delaney Nash was there in coverage for Fort Worth, reached it up and pawed it away with both hands.
If I'm Brown, I need to take a deep breath when I go back to the huddle. I just dodged another bullet right there. That could have been another interception. You are leading right now. You got Redford who's running the ball extremely well. Let's rely on that and make safer passes.
No need to force it, like you just said. Just another incompletion for Brown. Was 10 of his first 10. One of his last 4. Third down here for Brown. Fires. That time it's caught right back to Justice Blackwell, who gets inside the 25-yard line.
Nice throw, nice catch right there. The route was really simple. 7-yard slant inside, right behind the middle linebacker. Great time for Vancouver and a great throw for Brown. That's a safe throw right there. That's what you want to do when you're on offense right there for Vancouver right now.
Mentioned that Fort Worth doesn't take the ball away very much. Only 22 interceptions in the regular season. It was 23rd in a 28-team league, but they did score a lot of touchdowns. 4 total defensive touchdowns. That was second in the league. Not able to get the takeaway there. 4th catch for Blackwell. Brown into traffic again and swatted again. That's J.L. Browning, who has been very busy so far in this game. Let's introduce you to the rest of the Fort Worth defense. On the line, it's Jeff Duffy, Jabril Kirsch, Luther Gond, and Jerry D. Gond. Linebackers, E.K. Vincent, J.L. Browning, and Noah Regier. And in the secondary, Adam Leach and Nacho Sicario are your corners. And 4 safeties, Ben Stone, Delaney Nash, Doug Day, and Remington James. Redford, the lone tailback. 2 wideouts to the bottom. We haven't called Chris Curtis's name at all this game. Brown will go back to Brett Killian. Brett Killian has been the #1 wideout for years on end here for Vancouver. Was a great 1-2 punch with his fellow Canadian Tom Pepper. And this season, now that Christian Brown is at the controls of this offense, Anthony, it has been Chris Curtis's show. He's this team's leading receiver. He was brought in to be their #3 wide receiver a couple of seasons ago. But he's their team's leading receiver this season. So far, no catches, no targets. 3rd and 3. Brown will toss it out to Redford. Running room for Redford. First down. They had Ron Swanson, the center, out helping to pave the way. I don't think he ever really got a touch on that block, and instead, it doesn't matter. Redford's still able to get that first down.
Yeah, they're firing on all cylinders right now for Vancouver. Wide open out in the flats. Toros, they got to have somebody out there.
Vancouver into the red zone yet again. 2 of 2 on their first 2 trips. Empty set for Brown. Fires into traffic again, swatted, and who's got it? No one. My goodness, 4 different players had hands on it. E.K. Vincent was the first. One of the league's leaders in pass breakups this season, had 14 in the regular season. That was a top 10 mark in the league as a middle linebacker, and couldn't pick that one off.
One of these have to land for the Toros right here. They had their hands on the ball 3 times this drive alone. Vancouver, change it up.
Fitting time for that note there at the bottom. Fort Worth led the league in pass breakups. Now they will run it. Redford scores a hat trick in the first half in Vancouver for Robert Redford. And the Legion extend the lead.
And that's what we're talking about right there. The running game has been open the whole entire first half right there. Beautiful push from the line. I even saw a lineman right down the field. That's fantastic blocking. Receivers held off the cornerbacks. Didn't get touched until he got to the end zone.
Michael Percoco, the left guard, helping pave the way. They call him the natural here in Vancouver, and in the hockey world, Anthony, we call that a natural hat trick. He scored 3 straight times, uninterrupted. It's all Redford, all Vancouver here in the first half. Comes the PAT from Chance to Win. A little bit of a slow one. Hold down from Mark Saltz, who they retained even after Tom Pepper retired this offseason. And the veteran backup QB was able to hold that one down and allow Chance to Win to send it through. How about this for Vancouver? They've taken full advantage now of all of their opportunities, save one, I guess. That turnover on downs, that 4th down stop from Cabron Womack. We're not able to capitalize on that, but other than that, Vancouver, 4 possessions, 3 touchdowns. Fort Worth, nothing so far. What can Fort Worth do to get the offense in gear, Anthony? Because they've been able to move the ball a couple of times. We've seen them get into enemy territory. We've seen Dunhill convert 3rd downs. They've been good at that this season, as we've said. They've just not been able to string things together so far.
And you got Williams with 30 yards on 9 touches right there, which is the average of 3.3 a carry. Looked for that, and then your tight end was giving you good yardage on first down.
Went to Robert Garrett a couple of times on that last possession. You're right, for 19 yards. They will throw it out here. Stephen Hacker makes that catch. And a gain of, call it 4, as he's able to stay in bounds. And just like we've seen on the Vancouver side, where they haven't gone to Chris Curtis at all, the Toros have not gone to Cade Stevens at all. He's got 1 target but no catches, and he was their leading receiver this year as the number 2 wideout.
It looks like both teams was focusing on their number 1 receiver, but Vancouver's second and third receiver has been stepping up.
Vancouver with 100 more total yards and averaging nearly twice as many yards per play as Fort Worth is. So they will try to run it with Jason Williams, and he runs into the thick of the defense. That's Mark Lopez, who picks up another tackle in his storied career.
And for the Fort Worth, you want to get something before the half. So you want to push the ball down the field. You want to be safe about it. You know, you got a good running game here, but you want to bring something back to the halftime.
Fort Worth doesn't have to snap it before the 2-minute warning, but they will. Williams will run right into the defense again. Earl Fields, the 4th, rallies to the charge. It'll be 4th down, Fort Worth, facing a 21-point deficit. This is the 2-minute warning, and this is the SFL, presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. The Vancouver Legion have been a staple of the SFL postseason. They're here in the playoffs for the 6th season in a row, trying to make it 6 straight seasons with a postseason win. They're up 21 points to the good. Another punt for Ray Einhorn. Back is Justice Blackwell, who's had a big first half. Return opportunity here and snuffed out once again by the Fort Worth Toros special teams. Coming up on the APM Music Halftime Report, Cameron Irvine and Tyler Falk break down the first half between the Toros and the Legion. They have highlights from Saturday's wildcard doubleheader, and they discuss the drama from earlier today in Sioux Falls. It's all coming up on the APM Music halftime report. The SFL postseason never fails to disappoint, it feels like. Already in 3 games, we've had a walk-off field goal and 2 scoregamis, scores that have never happened before in league history in over 1,000 games. Christian Brown, deep to throw, right sideline, it's caught! Blackwell has another catch. Inside the 20-yard line he goes, and Vancouver on the doorstep again.
I absolutely like this play call right here. They've been running the ball extremely well. The Toros fell asleep on defense right there. It was able to get behind the secondary. Beautiful, beautiful play right there.
47 yards for Blackwell, and the Legion are right back into the red zone where they've scored all 3 times. Average gain of nearly 50 yards. Here goes Redford. Can he do it again? Outside he goes, and he's able to get the first down, but good tackle by a couple of Toros, including Adam Leach, 4th season corner, was an all-star last season for Fort Worth. They had 4 all-stars on this team, did the Toros, despite not making the playoffs and finishing well below 500. Still had a couple of representatives in that end-of-season classic, and they're right back in it. One of their best seasons in franchise history, though admittedly not a long history. Here goes Redford again, breaks through the tackle, and then is wrenched down 2 yards short. Touchdown-saving tackle once again. Redford already with 3 touchdowns on the day. Brown will throw back of the end zone, and it is caught for a touchdown by Brett Killian. Vancouver strikes again.
The fact that he kept 2 feet in bounds right there. Beautiful throw. That's a fantastic drive right there. Brown had a statement right there. He wanted to show you that he belongs on this team. Beautiful play right there. Vancouver is driving it.
Adam Leach, the number 1 corner for the Toros, jumped right past that route. He was there, Anthony. I have no idea how Brown completed that pass. Leach just jumped right past it. And right into the waiting arms of Brett Killian, one of the best wide receivers in SFL history, is into the end zone once again. 9 receiving touchdowns in the regular season. That was a top 10 mark. He has now scored 99 touchdowns in his career. Most of those came from his compatriot Tom Pepper, but now this season, even with Christian Brown at the helm, it has not been a drop-off at all for this Vancouver offense. Case in point here tonight, 6th in the league in points per game at 31, 4th in the league in yards per game at 420, and that has been par for the course for the Legion over the last handful of seasons. Not much on that return for Charlie Baker. They were 6th in the league this season in points per game, but that was a drop-off for this Vancouver offense. This is their first time out of the top 5 in points in season 13 when they were 9th. But this season, 4th in yards per game at 420, like we said. They've been top 10 in the league in yards per game every season since season 12. So Vancouver at the top of the leaderboards on offense and into the playoffs. What else is new? Now what can Fort Worth do? With 30 seconds left, they will run it to Williams, and I think that's our answer, Anthony. Fort Worth is just going to take this to the locker room.
Yeah, you don't want to do anything crazy right here. You want to go back to the locker room. You got to talk about what you can do to come out in the second half, to put some points on the board, make it a respectable game, and how can you change the momentum?
Lining up like they might snap it again. They don't have to. And they will. They'll run it again. More stats for Williams, and a nice run for Jason Williams. Now they might have been thinking maybe we should have used a timeout. Williams gets to the 35. Decent first half for Jason Williams, but not for the rest of the Toros. All Vancouver at Kings Coast Stadium. Redford scores 3 times. Killian adds 1 more, and the Legion lead it 28-0. When we come back, it's Cameron Irvine and Tyler Falk in the halftime studio. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports.
Welcome to the APM Music Halftime Report along with Tyler Falk. I'm Cameron Irvine. It is the halftime, and Vancouver is clobbering Fort Worth 28-0. Doesn't get worse than that, Tyler. If you're Fort Worth, I don't know how they come back from that, but let's focus on Vancouver for now.
Yeah, I mean, crazier things have happened in this league, Cam, but it just looks too easy for Vancouver at the moment. They seemingly can do no wrong. Sans maybe a Christian Brown interception, which was probably his worst thrown pass of the season, if I might be so blunt. But the defensive line, it hasn't just been Achilles Papatonis and Gerald Judicisi, like we mentioned, Cameron Womack came up with that crucial 4th down stop. Everyone. And then where did Michael Lister come from? The insane slot corner just diving out of nowhere to come up with that early interception to get Vancouver set up for their second touchdown of the ball game. Fort Worth has, well, they knew they had to do a lot coming into this football game to compete versus Vancouver. Now they got 2 quarters, 1 half of football left to even show any signs of life in this playoff game.
Yeah, just it's kind of shocking, honestly, Tyler. I mean, Fort Worth has played some great football over the course of this season, but did lose to Houston last week and just did not show up in this second half. They got to figure out how to turn it around. Let's get to the best of Saturday, D.C. and Minnesota. This one starts in the first quarter, and this was all about red zone stops. This is a great start for Hardcastle and the D.C. Dragons in a scoreless game.
A good job for D.C. to get off the field quickly here in the first quarter. And this would be a very, very repetitive feature of this ballgame, like you mentioned. Red zone stops, they're too many to count in this football game.
Early on, that interception actually proved deadly to the D.C. Dragons. A red zone stop of a different kind, Tyler, as Minnesota Angela Meerkat gets the safety, and just like that, it's a shootout, Tyler. 2-0.
They played the Uno reverse card, didn't they? Meerkat gets 2 points for Minnesota early and helps set up their defense. Both defenses played really well.
5-0 now, Minnesota on top, and Kevin Say gets it working in the late stages of the first quarter of the first playoff game of the weekend. Shabazz Synergy now downfield, hits Mike Churchill after a sliding missed play on the ball from right. That would end in 3 points for the Dragons. Yet another red zone stop. Late in the first half here, 5-3, Minnesota finally getting things going, matriculating the football down the field. Reno now inside the 18-yard line. Hits it Buchanan Simons. He would leave the game later, and Minnesota once again stopped in the red zone. They'd have to kick a field goal. That was the story of the first half. 8-3 at the half, Tyler.
Like a baseball scoreline, Cam. 8-3. Didn't really know what to expect. And like you mentioned, coming out in the second half, down goes Buchanan Simons. This is the play right after he gets hurt.
Reno picked off by Josh Vasquez. And you said it, Tyler. Simons gets hurt. Then Minnesota throws a pick. Then the very next play, Shabazz Synergy does this. 7-step drop. Bomb to Churchill. Get out of the way, ref. DC's going to the quarters playing like that. Touchdown, Mike Churchill, and DC takes the lead.
And the crucial thing for DC, partner, is Churchill was injured in their original meeting early in the season. He shows everybody why he's such a pivotal player for DC.
Here's another look at it. 1 ref gets knocked over. 2 gets knocked over. Nobody could stop Mike Churchill on this day. Over $160 to his name. And Minnesota, from that point on, looked to be in some trouble. One last look at Churchill. 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Same score. More Mike Churchill. Converts a 3rd and 3. Gets down the field. DC tacks on a field goal. Makes it 13-8. Fourth quarter, Shabazz Synergy, Josh Gill wide open. Want to talk about too easy, Tyler. That, for the first time all day, was too easy for DC. And the DC Dragons win their first playoff game since Season 5. They advance to the quarterfinals to take on an opponent TBD. 20-8, the final over Minnesota. Lone Star at Arizona in the nightcap. It was all glory early. 3-0 late in the first quarter. Garrison Blue shakes off a defender. Lone Star's up 10-0. That capped a 14-play, 94-yard drive for the Glory. Ensuing kickoff. Ryan Owens on the return from his goal line, and pop goes the Weasel. Recovered by Lone Star. Look at the big man coming in there. Joe Baldonado comes in there to make a big play for the Glory.
And it looked like Lone Star was going to run away with this one in Arizona, playing through all three phases of the ball game. Special teams came up play like we just saw here. They tack on a few more points here just shortly.
Second quarter, Ace Fennick getting things going, but hold everything. Iverson Gamble with an interception. And you're thinking, okay, there's the momentum Arizona needed. Well, not so fast. Have you ever seen a safety from the 4-5-yard loss in the backfield? Yogi Barr, and Lone Star turns him over. 12-0. Number 12. What a dime. Ziggy Roenick touchdown. 19-0, Tyler. Then nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Here comes Arizona. It's like Eddie Gage told everybody, all right, wake up. We're down 19-0 here at home in the wild card round. We cannot be down by 19.
Gage went out early with an injury, came back, sparked his team. TJ Punk with the first of 3 touchdowns for his night. 19-7 heading into the half. Then DJ Moses, 30 seconds into the third quarter, gets some key blocks, and he is down the sideline inside the 10. And Fatality Field was slowly waking up. Ashley Jackson, one-hander. That is pretty from Punk. 19-14 all of a sudden. 5:50 to go in the third. Off an interception from Lone Star. Deep shot down the field, broken tackle. He's out of here. Arizona's up, Tyler.
It just marked an incredible comeback, and they weren't done yet. They kept pounding Lone Star further and further into submission. It wasn't pretty after this.
A whopping 45 points in the second half from the 5th-seeded Arizona Scorpions. Connor Weston on the end of this touchdown. Lone Star did make it a game down the stretch. They tried, but too much offense for Arizona, Tyler. They averaged 9.1 yards per play in this game. 21-19 is your score. That's picked off by Gamble. That was the pick that actually led to another score for Arizona. Spoiler alert, DJ Moses. He gone. At 28-19 was what Arizona led by, and Arizona ends up winning that game 52-33, Tyler. So the Scorpions will play the Storm in the quarterfinals. Date, time, TBD. We'll have that on the postgame for you. But if I'm Florida, I'm shaking because Arizona looked mighty good last night.
Oh, it was incredible, right? Nothing could keep Eddie Gage's club down. They saw the 19-point deficit. They saw Lone Star runners up only a season ago, mind you. And all of a sudden, it was like a landslide. It started with just one little score, one thing going their way. And then all of a sudden, it becomes a whopping 45 points in the second half, which leads Arizona off to Fort Lauderdale next week.
And, Florida's pretty good themselves. They lead the league in takeaways, 39 this season. That's a little over 3 a game. That should be an epic one in the quarterfinals next weekend. Earlier today, Tyler, the Sioux Falls Sparrows get the win on a walk-off field goal, 22-21 over the Houston Headhunters. And you were on the call for this one on play-by-play, Tyler, and Sioux Falls looked cool, calm, and collected down the stretch. They were down 21-10, but they got some help from some unsung heroes in the playoffs this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And that game was absolutely a blast to call. 2 games over on Saturday, which ended up being more of a 2-point or 2-score ball game. This one stayed relatively close throughout. Houston looked like they were going to ride the wave of GP Wells, in which they did for a great part. DR Sim, however, very quiet. 1 reception only for the Hall of Famer. Not something we ever see here in the league, but it was the opposite numbers tailback. It was Sioux Falls who brought in rookie halfback after letting go of GP Wells over to Houston. They bring in Marcus Duncan, who only had less than 400 rushing yards coming into the ball game. He rattles off 109 and a score of his own. And at one point, Houston up 21 to, I want to say 8 points.
21-10. Yeah,
21-10.
Yeah.
I was thinking 28 back for Minnesota DC. That's where my head was at. But 21-10, 11-point ball game. They come out in the second half after Houston go up 21 after the third touchdown of the day for GP Wells. They start to put drives together. They had 3 drives over 10 plays. Just 2 of those before they rattled off with a Marcus Duncan touchdown took up an entire quarter of time of possession. And it just looked like Sioux Falls, who had been here before, been to a couple of championship games as of late, said to our team, we are going to take this one step at a time, not do any funny business, get down the field, kick the game-winning field goal, and that they did. A solid second half for another home team coming back from a deficit behind. It's not like we have here in Vancouver where it's been the home team for all 22 minutes.
Yeah, and, Houston, they are a first down chain-moving offense away from being title contenders. They just could not move the chains today. They couldn't convert on third down. Sioux Falls drained them in time of possession. It's been going on in Houston the last couple of months, and there just really doesn't seem any like there's any stopping it. GP Wells was heroic today against his old team, Tyler. They certainly didn't lose because of GP Wells today. He was outstanding, but at the end of the day, Sioux Falls gets the 1-point win. DC ekes out a win over Minnesota. But Arizona and Vancouver, man, the 5 and 6 seeds, they look like they're on another level. And if all the home teams end up winning this weekend, which it looks like that's going to be, unless Fort Worth can make an impressive, epic second-half comeback, you're going to have Vancouver going to Mexico City, a rematch of the Cade Stevens was in bounds game there in the playoffs. And then you're going to have DC, or Sioux Falls, rather, taking on London, and DC taking on Baltimore. The ultimate gut punch to the DC Dragons, who have had a nice season, but 2 bad losses to Baltimore. That's where things stand right now, but we'll see what this second half has in store for Fort Worth. What do you do if you're the Toros, Tyler? Final thoughts before we hit the second half.
You got to find your star players. And that sounds really cliche, but they change from game to game. And what if I'm looking for Fort Worth, there was a couple of plays that got the tight end involved. They got Williams involved over the middle, short over the middle routes seem to be working for Fort Worth. When they try and run the football, Williams, it just might not be Williams' day. He might not be the star player today. Find your other targets. Find a different avenue to throw the football to get you down the field. You need yards. You need points. You need consistency. You cannot have Marcus Dunhill uncomposed, uncharacteristic of Dunhill today, just to be a little bit wayward with his passes. If you're Vancouver, how do you stop a snowball falling down the side of the mountain? I don't think you can unless you put something pretty heavy in front of it. So Vancouver, keep doing what you're doing. Fort Worth, you better start charging. Otherwise, Vancouver is moving on.
Yeah, this has to be a Fort Worth defense that has to answer the bell, because, quite frankly, I mean, Dunhill's 8 of 11, 53 yards. He only has 1 interception. Jason Williams, 42 yards, 12 carries. I mean, nothing is outstanding, but Fort Worth's offense hasn't been as bad as their defense has been in that first half, giving up 4 touchdowns to Vancouver. Unacceptable. They got to clean it up, and they got to figure out how to get stops in this second half. Back to Tim and Anthony after this break, but Tyler and I will be back to preview the quarterfinal matchups in postgame when the SFL on Next Level Sports returns. This has been the APM Music Halftime Report. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Kings Coast Stadium in Vancouver, British Columbia. Happy to have you with us. The SFL presented by APM Music Live on Next Level Sports alongside Anthony Ellison. I'm Tim Hackett, Rochelle Colson, Ethan Kai, Tristan Hatley in the stat truck. And you heard from Cameron Irvine and Tyler Falk in the APM Music Studios. Thanks for joining us wherever you're joining us from. All Vancouver in that first half, and they will get the ball to start the second half, Anthony. The Legion clinical in that first half. Every time they get into the red zone, they score. Fort Worth let them down there, and then the Legion, you can't give this offense that many opportunities. They took full advantage.
Not at all. Every time they got a turnover, every time they had a chance to make a big play, they did.
This game far from over, just like you saw in the halftime break, and as James Walters mentioned in the SFL chat exclusive to our SFL community, we've already seen a team come back this weekend as Robert Redford, who had 3 touchdowns in that first half, is brought down for a loss of about a half yard by Jeff Duffy. Just yesterday, the Lone Star Glory went up 19-0 in the second quarter. They were up 19-7 the halftime break against the Arizona Scorpions and ended up losing by 19. Arizona scored 45-plus points in the second half to totally spin things around and win that game. I don't know if Fort Worth is as explosive an offense as Arizona's is, Anthony, but this game is not over if Fort Worth can start to string some things together, and that'll help. What a hit! Redford gets trucked by J.L. Browning.
Well, just the same way Vancouver scored 28 points in the first half, Fort Worth can do the same thing. Plays like that, stopping the run, stopping momentum is going to help Fort Worth. They got to take it a touchdown at a time and make key plays like they just did right there.
Yeah, first and foremost, you got to stop Vancouver, which is not something they did very much in that first half. On third down, Brown will throw, and another third down conversion for the Vancouver offense. Hector Huxley had a big catch in the first half. Now he's got one in the second, and the Legion extend the drive.
And that's you need to make a stop right there. Big time catch by number 11 right there. Was able to catch it and took the hit, didn't fumble the ball. That's going to keep them on the field.
2 catches for 43 yards unofficially in this game for the rookie Hector Huxley. So now they will run it again with Robert Redford. Right up the middle he goes, nothing doing there. Luther Gond was a huge offseason acquisition for Fort Worth. They spent the last couple of seasons with the Louisiana Revolution. He was a running back in the SFL minor leagues and now one of the best defensive tackles in the league. Kind of a down season for him this year at Fort Worth compared to what he did over the last 2 with the Revs, but still one of the best at his position. Brown throws over the middle. It's Killian again, and a gain of about 8 or 9 for BK12, who's up to nearly 50 yards now in this game.
So we're looking at Vancouver here. They're doing it on both perspectives, passing and running. That we saw in the first half when the running game wasn't working, they was able to dial up some passing plays, and that's what they're looking to do right now.
Get both phases of the game involved for sure. Oh, they get Fort Worth to jump. Redford will run it, and he's going to get close to the first down, but it won't matter. This is our first penalty of the game, Anthony, and it will be against the Toros, I'm sure.
So like I was saying, so Vancouver having trouble running the ball right now. 4-4 came out, and they were saying they're going to be dedicated to stop the run. So all Vancouver's doing is showing different pass routes now, different slant routes. They're overloading one side of the ball, and they're getting it out to the receivers because the receivers can make those catches. So Toros have to make the adjustment on the fly to stop Vancouver's offense.
That's another successful third down for Vancouver. Technically, they're 5 of 6 on third downs today. Brown will fire, and that's picked off. Just what the doctor ordered for the Toros. Nacho Sicario has the pick.
Big time play right there. He was completely covered right there. He played that zone perfectly well, went up at the highest point and got that ball. This is what Fort Worth need. Now the offense go on the field, chip away. Look for your tight end. That tight end gave you a lot of chunk yardage in the beginning on first and second down, and it's going to help your running back out right there.
Fort Worth, one of the worst turnover differential teams in the SFL. Almost every good turnover differential team is in the postseason. Fort Worth made it despite not having a lot of success in that category. Can they take advantage here after this takeaway? Remember, they punted after the interception from Ben Stone in that first half, and there is the first catch of the game for former Vancouver wideout Cade Stevens. Been his first couple of seasons with the Legion and took some time off and is now in his 5th season with Fort Worth. Give him 6. Dunhill will throw. This is Jason Williams. Spin for Williams. Gets away from 2 tackles, including one from Major Key. And Thrilliams has the first down.
This is exactly what you need right here. This is momentum yards. Get one of your better players out in the flash right there. Make him do some work. Spinning his way to the first down. Let's keep it up, Fort Worth.
Use Williams a lot, and this is somebody they go to often. The focal point of their offense. They'll run it again. Nothing doing that time. That's Williams on the carry, and Gerald Giudice makes the hit along with Achilles Papatonis. If you were with us for the pregame show, you heard Tyler Falk talk about those two guys. They're in the midst of career seasons, Papatonis and Giudice. Career high in TFLs this season for Papatonis, 33 TFLs over his first 3 seasons. He had 22 in the regular season this year. No gain there for Williams. Now he will run it again and gets a couple of yards that time, and Josh Farnsey makes the hit.
That's a great play right there by the middle linebacker. Sniffed out the run right there. Stuffed him. It's going to be a tough 3rd and 7 right here, but right now the Toros need to get this first down to keep this game alive and keep it going.
Fort Worth was one of the best 3rd down teams in the SFL this season. Not been the case so far tonight. They have struggled in this situation. 3rd and 7. Dunhill fires wide open. It's Cade Stevens with a crease, and he gets to the 34-yard line before he's hit by Drew Hamilton. That is a big 3rd down conversion for Fort Worth.
Huge play right there. Second catch in the drive right there for Stevens. Right behind the linebacker that's been having a good game right there. This is a great play call on 3rd down right here. Let's see if that's going to open up the running game to help them out.
Second catch of this drive, as you said, Anthony, and by my count, that is the first successful 3rd down conversion today for Fort Worth, who hit it better than 60% in the regular season, 3rd in the league. Dunhill, risky throw, but lofts it up, and the catch is made by Charlie Baker, hit quickly by Major Key. And another nice gain on 1st down for Fort Worth.
And that's positive yards right there. Like I said, 5 yards is fine. Any yardage positive, that's what you're looking for the Toros right there. Just push the ball down the field and keep your defense on the sideline. That's what you want.
Really just need to sustain a drive. They've not been able to do that very much at all. Just steadily make your way back into this game. Can't get it all back at once. Play we see a lot from them. It's Williams and wrenched down after a short gain by Michael Lister, who had the interception in the first quarter.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, is to complete a drive. Even if it's a field goal, see some points on the board, and that will give you the hope and the motivation to keep on pushing.
Yeah, just hasn't had a lot of success at all, has this Fort Worth offense. So any sort of sign of life should be a positive one. 3rd down, they will run it. Williams gets the first down. Reaches through the hit of Cabron Womack, who had a couple of big stops in the first half. We saw Fort Worth challenge on a short spot in that first quarter, Anthony, but this time they get the spot, and it's 1st down. Second straight successful 3rd down conversion for the Toros. After they failed on their first 5, they'll run it again. Williams runs right into the defense again, stuck by Drew Hamilton.
Great play by Hamilton right there. Came up to the line of scrimmage. They knew that they saw the run that was coming. Great tackle. Great play right there, coming up from the safety position.
This will be the 10th play of this drive for Fort Worth, already their longest drive of the day in terms of both yards and plays. From the 26, Dunhill for Robert Garrett Jr. That's nicely done. Gets a lot of that yardage back, gain of 8.
Yeah, that's what we want to see more of. Give it to your tight end. The tight end has been securing those catches and giving those good yards over the middle. That's going to help you for your receivers on the outside. Williams, with all the touches, is going to help him too. Your tight end is your best friend right now.
3rd catch of the game for RG2. Split back set on another 3rd down on this drive. Fort Worth in the red zone for the first time, and that'll knock them out. Dunhill gets stuck. Another sack for the Vancouver defense. Gerald Giudice.
There's a reason why they're in the playoffs right there. They make big plays, and that defensive line has been making big plays all game. They just went with another one that hurts right there if I'm the Toros. Great sack right there.
12 sacks in the regular season for Double G. That was a new career high. His previous career high was 9. And that forces this field goal opportunity for Amelia Rose, and she knocks it through. One of the better kickers in the SFL this season. And Rose finally breaks the shutouts. Fort Worth is on the board, Anthony, and to your points, does that give the Toros just the confidence that they need? They had that drive stall right as they hit the red zone, but they do get some points on the board finally.
Any points is helpful right now for a comeback right here. The defense showing you that they can make a play, they can make an interception right here. The quarterback does tend to throw the ball into coverage, so like I said, it's still a ball game.
Fort Worth finally takes advantage of an opportunity that Vancouver presents, turns that takeaway into 3 points. Turnover differential is now dead even, 2 apiece, and second pick today from Christian Brown. Like we said earlier, not something that he has done very much this season. 24 picks, 6th fewest in the league, but he has thrown a lot of interceptions in his playoff career. Split back set for him here. Has time, now sees that time evaporate and spins into a sack. Big time for the Fort Worth defense. Jerry D. Gond leads the way with Jabril Curse.
Wow, and we haven't seen this all game. That is a big sack right there for that defense. That defense is starting to feel it right now. Like I said, this game is not over with. Once again, forcing turnovers is going to help the offense with their spirit right here. Great defensive play. Let's keep it up.
Loss of 10 for the 2 less heralded members of this Toro defensive line. Brown under siege again, throws, and it's intercepted! Second takeaway of this third quarter for the Toros. Ben Stone has his second of the game.
It looked like it was a low snap right there. It didn't seem like he didn't need to throw that ball. He wasn't ready for it. So when he looked down the field and he threw it, that safety was ready for that route right there. And this is what you need if you're the Toros. You need those defensive stops right there. Now the offense, instead of a field goal, let's get a touchdown right here. We still have a football game here. Let's see what the Toros can do.
Ben Stone is a guy that the Toros love. They sought him out in his draft class, needed to have him on this team, and they got him. Nice throw and catch for Cade Stevens. Stone left for a couple of seasons. He was a quarterback in the minor leagues in the first season of the SFLM. Drafted as a free safety, a team player, was willing to switch positions, knowing that Fort Worth had a quarterback in wait in Cameron Curtis, who was a wide receiver his first year. And Stone became a free safety, then left the league for a little while, and now he's back again to rejoin his friends here in Fort Worth. And he's got his second pick of the playoffs. High throw, Hacker on the catch from Dunhill and spun out just shy of the stick. So back-to-back gains in the passing game here, Anthony. One for Stevens and one for Stephen Hacker.
Like I said, this is what you need right here. You know the running didn't work, so now you need to start throwing the ball, making the defense wary of it so they back off of coverage, and then you can sneak in a run when you need to.
Will they try to run it here? No. Dunhill will throw, and he's sacked! Another sack for the Vancouver defense. That's Charlie Brown with a big hit on the Hall of Famer, and it's third down.
Big play right there once again. That's tough. You know, Turtles, they're trying to get the ball down the field. A sack kills a lot of it. Big 3rd and 7 coming up right here.
Neither of these teams give up a ton of sacks this season, but they've already both surrendered one here in the third quarter. Third down, chipped up by Dunhill and brought in by Garrett. What a throw from Marcus Dunhill. That was creative.
Looks like throwing it from the sidearm position right there. Once again, that's the tight end. You want to get him involved in the offense. He is a safety blanket right there. He's catching everything in his path.
Yeah, he has been a very reliable option for Fort Worth in this game. First down and goal. Dunhill, Williams, touchdown, Fort Worth. The Toros are on a run.
And it's all set up by that interception right there. They was able to some great passes on this drive right here. Didn't see him coming from out of the backfield. Beautiful one-hand catch, but the ball was a little bit behind him. But there you go. That's what you need if you're Fort Worth.
I've said it time and again. in the SFL, Anthony. The turnovers in this league are such a critical part of the game. If you're teams that are able to take advantage of those opportunities, have success. I mean, look at it like this. Turnover differential is, I think, such a key statistic in this league. Of the 12 teams that qualified for the postseason this year, PAT here from Amelia Rose is good. Of the 12 teams that qualified for the postseason, 9 of them were in the top 10 in turnover differential. Put it another way, only one of the teams that was in the top 10 in TO differential missed the playoffs. Fort Worth was one of the worst teams in TO differential this season, as we've already mentioned. Bottom 5 in the league after being top 5 a season ago. They still made the playoffs despite that metric, and now they're leading in turnover differential in this game, and they're right back in the thick of things.
Yeah, it just shows you that, you got to take it game by game. Yes, they weren't the best in turnover differential, but they're showing today that they have fight and they have heart. So they're going to do everything they can to try to get them back in the game, to get the turnovers that they needed so the offense can be on the field.
Incidentally, the only team in that top 10 in TO differential that didn't make the playoffs was Queen City, which was also one of the few teams that beat Vancouver this year. They had the best strength of defeat in the SFL, implying that they only lost to good teams. Redford gets the give, and not much doing there. Another tackle for J.L. Browning. And Vancouver's 4 losses this year. To Queen City, they were 5-7, so it's a little bit of an anomaly. But their other 3 losses came to teams that are going to be playing in the quarterfinals next week. D.C., Baltimore, and London. Teams that combined to lose just 6 games in the regular season. And again, all will be playing in the quarterfinals next weekend. Vancouver trying to join them. They've been outscored 10-0 here in the third quarter. Last play of the quarter. Brown takes forever before he drops it off to Sawyer Stern, and he gets hit in the backfield by Adam Leach. All Fort Worth in the third quarter, and suddenly we've got a game. Vancouver 28, Fort Worth 10. Don't go anywhere. The final game of Wild Card Weekend is starting to get interesting. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports.
Of the Simulation Football League is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or account of the game without the express written consent of the league office is prohibited.
Final game of Wild Card Weekend, Season 19 of the SFL, and we've got a game on our hands. 10-0 Fort Worth in that third quarter, and the Toros are right back in it. Third down, facing Christian Brown in Vancouver. He will throw, and it's caught for a first down to the 37-yard line. And can you believe it? The first catch of the game for Chris Curtis comes on the first play of the fourth quarter. The team's leading receiver finally has his first grab. It's good for 11, and it helps the Legion move the chains.
Right on time right there. That's a big third down catch right there for Curtis. So glad to see him involved. Moving the chains.
From the 37, Brown throws. Curtis again. Same play, same results. Gain of 12 for Chris Curtis, and another first down.
Looked like they looked in the playbook and they're like, oh, we forgot about this. Let's run it back to back right there. Beautiful route by Curtis and a beautiful throw right between the little triangle of defenders right there. Great throw by Brown.
A resurgent season for Chris Curtis, who came over from Queen City. When he did, he was the team's number 3 wide receiver, but now that Kendra Hall departed in the offseason to become the feature wideout for Canton, Chris Curtis has surged to new heights. Offside again will be the call, I'm assuming, against Fort Worth, as Curtis, after those 2 catches, Anthony, goes over 11,000 receiving yards in his career. One of the best in league history, playing alongside Brett Killian, who is also one of the best in league history. Jeff Duffy called for that infraction, second offside call against the Toros in this game.
Yeah, that's a fantastic career. 11,000 yards receiving. That's beautiful. That's absolutely beautiful. You love to see it.
And Killian, number 2 in league history in receiving yards, with close to 14,000 now this season, and 99 career touchdowns after his grab earlier today. That made it 28-0. Fort Worth on a 10-0 run. They'll throw it short. Here is Killian right on cue. This will depend on the marker, Anthony, as he spun around near the first down marker. I'm curious where they spot him.
Looks like he got it. I think he spun right after the first down marker, but I was wrong earlier in the game.
They're going to mark him short.
Oh, 0 for 2.
All right. Nowhere to go but up, my friend. Don't worry. Second and inches. They will run it. Redford. No! Stopped short. Another great stop by this Fort Worth defense. E.K. Vincent and Jabril Curse.
That's a good sign of life right there for the defense right there. Big stop. Let's see what Vancouver do. I would just run the ball again. I think they have an offensive line that will push back the Toros.
Saw fullback Sawyer Stern get involved in the offense in the last play of the third quarter. Will they go his way here? Split backs. They'll snap it. Here's the give. Redford reaching, and no, he stopped. Forward progress, not enough. Delaney Nash and Luther Gons, the all-star last season with Louisiana, making his mark here in the postseason with his new squad.
Wow, this defensive line is coming up with big play after big play.
Here they come. We saw Fort Worth go for it earlier, and now Vancouver will bring the offense. They will go for it. Redford hit behind and stopped. Luther Gond makes the play again. A turnover on downs from the Toros, and Fort Worth will get the ball back.
Great play. 3 straight plays by the defensive line right there. But if I'm Vancouver, maybe throwing in a play action. They had everybody up on the line. They called a blitz. On top of that, you got to get out of that formation, Vancouver. Big play by the Toros. Let's see if they can score a touchdown. We still have a ball game here, yo.
Exactly what happens in the first half. Fort Worth tried to run it on 4th and short. Caden Womack made the stop. Luther Gond makes that stop on Robert Redford, who's already scored 3 touchdowns, couldn't get 1 yard, and so now Jason Williams will run it. He runs it right into Achilles Papatonis. No gain there. I'm wondering how soon Fort Worth abandons the game script, Anthony. Luis Gonzalez told Rochelle Colston ahead of their game against Houston in Week 14 that they will live and die by Jason Williams. You see his numbers there, not exceptional by any means, and they're trailing by 18 with 8 minutes left. On second down, deep drop for Dunhill, throws into traffic, and that could have been picked, should have been picked by Drew Hamilton, but it's third down.
And it's okay to live and die by your game plan. You got to look at your clock management. You got to look at how much you're down by. So if you want to keep Jason Williams involved, now you got to start looking at him in the passing game, not just the swing route. Maybe you can get him on a slant route, then get him moving up the field. But you got to get first downs right here. Your tight end's been fantastic.
Drew Hamilton is a guy that has played a lot of roles for Vancouver over the years. Elevated to the starting strong safety spot this season. That's a high throw, and that's intercepted! Earl Fields the fourth, the linebacker, comes up with the takeaway. And just like we saw in the first half, this time it's the other way. Fort Worth throws a pick after getting the fourth down stop, and the Toros won't get any closer. A big time for a pick for Earl Fields the fourth, second season linebacker. Vancouver back on the ball when we come back. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. Another interception thrown by a quarterback in this game sets Vancouver up inside of enemy territory. Christian Brown, in his first season playing for the Legion, will link up with Chris Curtis for the third time in the fourth quarter after the veteran wideout didn't have any catches through the first three. Anthony Ellison, the team's leading receiver, has started to heat up.
And that's what you want to see. You want him to start heating up, give him momentum, potentially for the next game if they can hold on to this lead right here. Beautiful pitch and catch.
Home team has won in each of the first three wild card games so far this weekend. Here in Vancouver, the home team up by 18 with 7.5 left. Brown, a deep drop. Looking over the middle, into traffic again, is swatted away and picked off. Another interception for this Toro defense. This time it's Delaney Nash, and the Toros are not done yet.
We still have a lot of time right here. He had the running back open in the flats right there. Want to throw it into quadruple coverage. I don't understand why. He had his running back in the flat.
This has been a problem for Christian Brown in the postseason. It was something that has been a storyline for him over his career. He throws a ton of picks, throws for a ton of yards, has really settled that down here in Vancouver. Playing with this wide receiving cast helps, sure, as Dunhill drops it into the bucket. What a dime from Dunhill. That was a great throw right on the money for Cade Stevens. But in the playoffs now for Christian Brown, counting today, this is his third playoff start as a quarterback, Anthony. He's thrown 4 touchdowns and 11 picks. It is not uncommon to see QBs in this league throw a lot of interceptions, maybe even as many interceptions as touchdowns over the course of the season. But if you're throwing 3 times as many picks as touchdowns, it's a problem.
And when you run into just better teams, they're going to take advantage of that.
No doubt, especially when you get into crunch time. And that was part of the reason why St. Louis lost in Brown's first 2 years as the quarterback. They made the playoffs but got no further. Toss out from Dunhill. That's hauled in. Nice gain out there by Cade. Check that. That's Stephen Hacker, who is working on kind of a down year for him, all things considered, as Cade Stevens went over 900 yards for the first time in his career since his first season. Talking about Stevens, Hacker takes a little bit of a back seat, but you know that he's still a featured member of this offense. Over 9,000 receiving yards now in his career. Williams, nothing doing there. Vancouver's rush defense has been exceptional.
They have the whole game. They've just been stopping big plays when they need to. Vancouver's defense has been doing a fantastic job right here.
One of the better rush defenses in the league. Only 89 yards allowed per game. That's right about middle of the pack. But Vancouver as a team allowed only 8 rushing touchdowns this season. 4th best in the league. On 3rd down, they will toss it out. Spin move and a first down. A clutch pickup for Fort Worth. Jason Williams gets him to midfield.
Beautiful spin move. Opened the flats. Made the first defender miss so you can get that first down.
They can continue to feed Williams in this game, Anthony. That's his 7th catch. 25 total touches for him. Same number of touches as Redford has. He just hasn't had a ton of big yards. Split back set. Dunhill throws. Caught again by Cade Stevens. He is inbounds this time, and he gets 5.
Going back to Jason Williams right here, 89 receptions for the season. And then he also had 263 carries. So he is a big focal point of the offense, and nothing's different today.
A career year for Cade. 61 catches, 952 receiving yards, and averaged 15.5 yards per catch. That was 10th best in the league. 2nd down and 5. Williams, nothing doing there. Another great stop by the Vancouver defense. 52 and 53. Fields and Farnsey, no gain.
Yeah, the linebackers for Vancouver have been playing out of this world. Interception, like busting up the middle and getting those tackles right there. They've just been playing fantastic.
Another 3rd down for Fort Worth. Dunhill will toss it this way. Hacker makes the catch. Spins around to stay in bounds, and Stephen Hacker moves the chains. Big pickup. 1st down to the 32. One-on-one against Dean Maddox, now the number 1 corner here for Vancouver. Dunhill throws. Hacker has another catch. That's the Hacker to you, Dean Maddox, inside the 20. Toros back in the red zone. Desperately needed. Back to Hacker again, and he has to pirouette just to haul that one in. Does so, though, and gets 4.
Yeah, Hacker, 3 straight catches right here. They get in the tempo. They're pushing the tempo with those no huddles. The defense was not ready for it right here. At this point right now, the Toros, you need to push the ball down the field. You got to be careful with those interceptions, but at this point, it's crunch time.
Caught 2 touchdowns in Week 14 to help Fort Worth stay in the game against crosstown rivals Houston. Headhunters ended up winning that game to lock up a playoff spot. 2nd and 6. Here's Garrett. Shallow route for the tight end. Pushed out by his opposite number 44, Will Stern, rookie free safety. Gain of about 3 for Garrett.
We still have 4 minutes left in this ball game. Anything can happen right here. If you get a touchdown, and then with the way Brown throws the ball into traffic, this is still a ball game.
Those 2 touchdowns for Hacker brought him up to 69 in his career. 3rd down and 3, another 3rd down opportunity for the Toros on this drive. Dunhill, sidearm sling right into the hands of Earl Fields the 4th. His 2nd interception of the 2nd half. He had just 2 picks in his career before today. He doubles that total in the 2nd half alone, and that might seal it for Vancouver.
This is just fantastic coverage right here. Saw there's only 1 receiver, played underneath, knowing that he had a defensive player over the top, so he could undercut that route right there. 2nd interception, big play. That might seal it.
Earl Fields the 4th, 2nd season as a linebacker in this league. Did not have a pick last year, had 2 in the regular season this season, and 2 in the 4th quarter tonight to put Vancouver back on the ball. Under 4:20 now left in regulation. Brown's going to throw it. to the top of the screen. Curtis makes the catch, spins around to stay in bounds, and then is tackled out of bounds. So Curtis does well, and then Fort Worth is able to knock him out. That's Noah Regier, rookie second-round pick, making the hits.
Just remember Vancouver right here. You have the momentum. Redford is having a great day running the ball. Make sure you keep him involved. You just need to chew clock right now.
Curtis, one of the best wideouts in the league this year, ostensibly as the number 2 option for Vancouver. More than 200 receiving yards in Week 14 against LA as Redford gets hit in the backfield for a loss by J.L. Browning. Cooked Jack Hexaw for 205 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Did Curtis put him over 1,100 receiving yards on the season. 6th in the league in yards, tied for 4th in touchdowns with 10, average better than 17 yards per catch. That was 5th in the league. Not bad for a former number 3 wideouts on this team. It was really risen to the task as the team's number 2 option behind BK12. And a big second half for Curtis as well. 4 catches for 45, says the stats team. 3rd and 1. Redford outside, first down. Vancouver, another clutch run for Robert Redford, a surefire Hall of Famer in this league, Anthony. 3 touchdowns in the first half. Slowed down here in the second, but he has done everything that he's needed.
Oh, absolutely, including getting that first down right there. It keeps the clock moving. It's really demoralizing for the defense to stay on the field, thinking that you can, get the ball back. Beautiful run by Redford.
3.3 yards per carry, as you see there. Averages 5, which was league average. But a big run for him there. They'll run it again. Nothing doing there. Another good hit from J.L. Browning. How many tackles does he have in this game? Unofficially, that's 15 for J.L. Browning. Now the team's number 1 outside linebacker. E.K. Vincent used to play outside, now moved inside. So Browning moves over there. They draft Noah Regier to fill out the trio. And Browning is showing out in the postseason. The first time Fort Worth has been in the playoffs since season 16. That was their 2nd year of existence. They had to come here to Vancouver and they lost to the Legion, trying to avoid suffering the same fate here in season 19. On second down, Redford gets stuck behind the line. Great hits by Nacho Sicario, trying to keep his team's season alive. And that drops Redford to under 3 yards per carry. But those 3 touchdowns are the difference. 2 minutes left in regulation. Vancouver still on top by 18. This is the SFL presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports. Sun setting in Vancouver, BC, and right now, sun setting on the Fort Worth Toros season. It's 2 minutes away from dropping to the Vancouver Legion in the postseason for the second time in their existence. This is just the third all-time meeting between these two franchises. Again, Fort Worth joined the SFL in season 15, then played Vancouver in the playoffs in season 16. That ended their season. They met in the regular season in season 18, and here they are in the playoffs in season 19. Brown, it popped as he throws, is able to loft it up, and it's caught, they say, by Hector Huxley, who makes his third catch on third down today. But that time it is short, and it'll be fourth down. It's inside of 2 minutes, Anthony, so we'll get a booth review. This won't matter all that much. It should be a punt upcoming either way for Vancouver, but let's take a look. Huxley has been a big contributor. I mean, you saw his right foot.
Yeah, he's out. That is not a catch.
I would agree. There you go. Call is overturned. So we've done well on these official reviews so far in this game. Hey, it's a new season for everybody, and Huxley is out of bounds. That's the new storyline here for Vancouver. No, it's not. It's an 18-point lead for Andy Hamilton's side, and that catch incompletion will not make too much of a difference, we don't think. And so for the first time today, we will see Brian Patrick, the Vancouver punter. It has been a touchdown or a giveaway pretty much every other possession for Christian Brown and the Vancouver Legion, and Charlie Baker will call for that punt, or call for that catch. I might have to make a correction. That might be the second punt we've seen from Brian Patrick today. I'll check on that for you in a second. But either way, it has been a clinic in this game for Vancouver. They've won their last 4 games dating back to the regular season, 2 by lopsided scores, 17+, 2, though, by 3 points or fewer. And this looks to fall into that first category, 17+, as they lead by 18. Time still, though, for Marcus Dunhill, the former SFL champion and SFL MVP. High throw, hauled in, and swatted down is Robert Garrett Jr. after a gain of 7. Right back to it from the midfield stripe. Hacker makes the catch and then turns around to stay in bounds. That was a weird play. Clock keeps running. Gain of 5. Dunhill out this way to Williams. Spin for Williams. Gets through 2 tackles and gets 6, but the clock keeps running.
They got to get out of bounds on these plays to stop the clock.
1:15 left. Number 15 throws. Hacker, same play. Made the catch and then about face to stay in bounds.
Somebody yelled at him, go out of bounds.
That's crazy. Not a play you see often from Stephen Hacker. From the 30, another high throw, another catch. Dunhill has been locked in this drive. Garrett Jr. with that catch. 1 minute left.
Secure hands right there by Garrett Jr. That tight end has been doing wonderful.
Oh, down goes Dunhill. He gets plastered by this Vancouver line. Stanley Hudson with the play. Uprooting this drive. 2nd and 14. Dunhill's throw. They still haven't used any timeouts. They've got all 3, and right on cue, that will be the first timeout for Fort Worth with 35 seconds left. Well, here's the lesson to young folks watching at home. Stick with your gut, Anthony. That is the first punt today for Vancouver. But it has set up Fort Worth inside the red zone now. They have not had a lot of success in this situation, unlike Vancouver, which was lethal in the first half. From the 16, Dunhill zips it into traffic behind his receiver, but it's caught by Robert Garrett Jr., who stopped inside the 2-yard line. It is notable to mention the backups are in defensively for Vancouver, and Garrett Jr. able to take advantage.
Regardless of the outcome of the game, this is for pride for Fort Worth. So go in there, get points, get you momentum going into the off season, into next season right here. So.
Stop made by Aiden Davis, keeping Garrett Jr. out of the end zone. Split back set. Remember, Fort Worth has 3 stars at that position. Dunhill will throw, though. Under pressure and siege down again. Gerald Judas-Sessi has another sack. A career year for the veteran DT. showing up here in the postseason. Dunhill tries to run with it and then tosses it away as he gets hit from behind. That's Charlie Brown, who made a big play earlier in this game. Hits Dunhill there, does stop the clock, but 17 seconds and an 18-point hole.
Yeah, this is tough right here to see. Looks like, are they going for it?
They will. From the 9. And an empty set for Marcus Dunhill. Steps and throws to the end zone, and that is caught. Touchdown, Toros. In the final 20 seconds, Stephen Hacker strikes. Career touchdown number 70. And this second half run for Fort Worth continues.
Yeah, he's been the favorite target for this drive right here. What a way to complete off the drive. Nice little inside slant route.
The Hacker has arrived. Was money in this game. 10 catches on his 10 targets. Won't be enough, though, for Fort Worth. The team that he has brought to life, along with his friends, Luis Gonzalez and now Robert Garrett, bringing a team to the greater Dallas area. We're checking into Fort Worth, and they will see their postseason end in Vancouver for the second time. Vancouver has been a staple of the postseason, Anthony, but it's one thing to just get there. Vancouver doesn't just get there. They get there and they succeed. This is now 6 straight seasons in the playoffs for Vancouver, and it's 6 straight seasons with a playoff win for Vancouver. Onside kick recovered by the Legion, and that's going to do it. Now, you can argue that they haven't been able to extend that success. Vancouver has never won more than one game in a postseason, but they have always won at least one. Every time that they have been there, they have made it to the next round, and they are going to do that again.
So I'm Vancouver. I'm looking back at the tapes after this game and what we can do better. Yes, we scored 28 points. We scored 21 in the first half, but there was a lot of missed opportunities there. Too many turnovers, in my opinion, for Vancouver. So you got to look back at those missed opportunities to see if you can play it safe and get ready to go over that hump to get another win to advance in the playoffs.
See, the turnover margin is dead even, which has to be considered a success for Fort Worth. Remember, one of the worst TO differential teams in the league. They pick Christian Brown off 4 times. One of the league's best at avoiding interceptions in this regular season. They take him off 4 times. And it's not good enough. The Toros score the final 17 points of the game, but the 28-0 lead for Vancouver holds up. The Legion advance in the postseason for the 7th straight season, and it'll be Canada against Mexico in the quarterfinals. Legion against Aztecs next week from Estadio Matt Wilson as the Legion move on to the quarterfinals once again. Your final score, Vancouver 28, Fort Worth 17. An impressive game for Vancouver, Anthony. They were held scoreless after halftime. Remember, it was 28-0, and it was all doom and gloom for Fort Worth. From us, from the guys in the studio, surely from their own sidelines, but the Toros rallied. They made this a game. At the end of the day, it's an 11-point final score, and almost every postseason game in recent league history, sans a couple last season, and postseason history have been decided by 2 possessions or closer, and Fort Worth made that happen tonight, but for their offense, too little too late.
And they put up a good fight right here, but it was just too much Redford, too much of that offense for Vancouver. Definitely going to be a tougher matchup going next week into Mexico.
Coming up on the 8 p.m. Music post-game update, Cameron Irvine and Tyler Falk wrap up Fort Worth versus Vancouver, plus an extensive preview of the 4 SFL quarterfinal matchups next week. It's all coming up on the post-game update with Cameron Irvine and Tyler Falk. Anthony, it's been a pleasure. Welcome to our team. Welcome to the playoffs. Again, we've seen a little bit of everything. An amendment to a previous claim. Fort Worth actually wins the turnover battle. Did not happen for them very much this season, but it was not enough to get them the win. Who's your player of the game tonight?
Oh, it has to be Redford right here on offense, and then linebacker to have 2 interceptions on defense. But Redford, 3 touchdowns, too much.
Earl Fields the 4th doubles his career output with 2 interceptions, including the one you saw a moment ago. This touchdown to Stephen Hacker made things a little bit closer with some of the reserves in for Vancouver. 17-0 run for the Toros to close it out, but too big of a hole to climb out of. There's your player of the game, another blockbuster in the playoffs for Robert Redford. 3 total touchdowns, helping Vancouver out to a 28-0 lead, and the defense does the job, preventing a second big comeback from the team in the wild card weekend. That's going to do it from us. For us here in Kings Coast Stadium, for Anthony Ellison, Ethan Kai, Tristan Hatley, and Rochelle Colston, I've been Tim Hackett. Thanks for joining us all season long. The quarterfinals come your way next week. We'll see you then. We'll take a break, and then it's Cameron Irvine and Tyler Falk to take you home. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, so long.
In SFL playoff recent history, you don't see a lot of upsets, particularly here in the wild card round, proving that the elite are elite. And tonight, Vancouver scored 0 points in the second half, Tyler, and it didn't even matter. 28-17, Vancouver beats Fort Worth. A pretty terrific performance, all things considered, for Vancouver. It did get a little sloppy late there, but they flexed their muscles early.
It seemed like we'd have a certain meme. Is that what the kids call it nowadays? A certain meme popping back into everyone's minds, a certain scoreline of, I think it's called 28-3.
Yeah.
But and Vancouver are not a certain team from Atlanta, Georgia. So we can be rest assured that Vancouver will keep Fort Worth in check, even without a whole lot of scoring, without a whole lot of production for Robert Redford in that second half, which was oddly surprising. And all of a sudden we start hearing Chris Curtis's name only in the fourth quarter. Very weird second half for the Legion.
And a couple of plays go differently, and this game gets wild. The interception, the second one by Earl Fields, which was a great read. Terrible read by Dunhill, who otherwise had an okay night, only had 7 incompletions, but he missed a wide-open receiver to the top of the screen. That would have been a touchdown. Now you start talking about, near a one-score game. And, so 28-17, Vancouver beats Fort Worth. And, that's a wrap on the wild card round. Heading now into the quarterfinals. And let's take a look at those quarterfinal matchups. We're going to start with Saturday, then we're going to get into Sunday. Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. You heard it here first. It is the London Knights and the Sioux Falls Sparrows, 6:30 p.m. Eastern on the SFL YouTube channel. Can the Sparrows, Tyler, shock London across the pond, or will the Knights live up to the hype? What is your initial thoughts here on this first matchup, 8-1, starting us off next weekend?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time a team shocked London this season. In fact, Motor City just a week ago at home in Detroit, Michigan, shocked London, beating them 38-31. So it's not something that we haven't seen this season. But the big test will be for the Sparrows. They did have to overcome Houston in a nail-biter earlier today. That is going to be put on the test. It's going to be one of the best defenses going up against one of the best and most productive offenses, especially when you're talking about London and their running game. Robert Merrill, of course, leading the way, not Johnny Pickler for the most part this season.
London did get the win earlier this season over Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls played a very methodical style against Houston's defense today, although they gave up a lot of rushing yards to G.P. Wells, and Robert Merrill is running downhill. So it's that is kind of a scary matchup there. But that game earlier this season resulted in a 16-10 London win, Tyler. Now, it was in Sioux Falls, but Sioux Falls gave them all that London could handle. And if memory serves me correct, Tyler, there were a lot of picks in that game from Johnny Pickler, a lot of forced slants up the middle. Sioux Falls was all over it. It was an ugly, drawn-out game. And Sioux Falls wants to muck it up, just kind of like they did against Houston today in that one. So that's going to be a very interesting matchup there between London and Sioux Falls. Okay, Saturday evening, rather. That is going to be Vancouver and Mexico City, the 6-3 game. That is Saturday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. High-flying Vancouver faces ground and pound Mexico City. This is a playoff rematch from a couple of times, I believe, they have met in the postseason. And, contrasting styles. Vancouver trying to get over the hump, get a second playoff victory, right, and get out of that second round. And Mexico City playing for a legend, Matt Wilson. They don't want it to be his final game. They don't want any game to be his final game. But at this point, the clock is ticking on his season as they do their best to send him home a winner. This game's going to be full of emotion and full of intrigue next Saturday.
And here's the crazy part about this matchup, Cam. They have met twice in the playoffs, Vancouver and Mexico City. Both games decided by a field goal, and both games were played in Mexico City. Third time possibly for the charm for the Legion to come out and spoil everything for the Aztecs? Or does Matt Wilson get to fight one more weekend?
Man, it's I mean, you look at the storylines and you look at everything going on in that game, it's going to be one for the history books, and I hope everyone is able to tune into that one. That'll be on the SFL YouTube channel. Tyler and I will preview Sunday's quarterfinal matchups when we come back. You're watching the SFL postgame update here on Next Level Sports. Don't go anywhere. Our last two quarterfinal previews up next. All right, back here at SFL Studios for our continuing quarterfinal preview coverage as Vancouver takes out Fort Worth tonight, 28-17. The South, the first division in SFL history to get all 4 teams in their division into the playoffs, and 3 of them lost in the wild card around Mexico City, hoping that they are not the 4th next Saturday evening. All right, Sunday afternoon, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, heading into dark. It's DC Baltimore, Tyler. 3rd time's the charm for DC. They certainly hope so because they got waxed twice this season. In week 1, they lost 26-6. They had no offense going. Baltimore's defensive line dominated. And then in week 14, just 2 weeks ago, the last time Baltimore played, in fact, they scored 6 touchdowns on their first 6 possessions and ran it up on DC and won 45-30. So I know it's tough to beat a team 3 times in a season, Tyler, so how does DC pull out the magic here?
Well, they got to see Baltimore at the beginning of the season. They got to see Baltimore at the end of the season. Now they get them in the playoffs, which is a completely different beast entirely. Baltimore, however, have always been strong in their first round of the playoffs. They seemingly always get out of the first round, sans season 14 when they lost after an 8-4 season. But after that, 3 championships, Baltimore only the 2nd seed, but that's no stranger to them. DC are going to have to completely contain Jack Wigmore, or Winmore as he's called in other parts of the league. And they're going to have to play efficient ball. They cannot come out slow and sloppy like they did against Minnesota earlier this weekend. They have to start on the right foot. If they can do that, maybe DC knocks out Baltimore.
Yeah, that would certainly be a shocker. Baltimore will come into that game pretty big favorites, but DC is they know all about going on the road in the playoffs and pulling out wins. That was what their season 5 run was all about. I know that was ages ago. We're living in the past, right? But you just never know. Stephen Mullinex has been a part of beating Baltimore before in the playoffs. If you remember way back, the Dallas Roughnecks beat the Baltimore Crabs, which was run by Tim Johnston, and knocked them out of the playoffs. It was on the road. Baltimore was heavy favorites in that one. And DC's won some road playoff games too. So it's going to be interesting to see what DC can cook up. And hey, Tyler, I mean, worst case scenario, you already know what doesn't work, right? Because you lost to him twice already this season. So maybe DC is able to cook up something different against the Vultures. Our final game, and this is our Next Level Sports game of the week next week. It is Sunday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern. It is Arizona and Florida, the 5-4 matchup. The Scorpions red hot, 52 points against Lone Star. They lit it up, but they did lose to Florida earlier this season. Florida has been a takeaway machine. Florida won the first matchup 30-23 in that game. Ashley Jackson threw 3 interceptions, and Florida was able to edge out the victory. This one is going to be at the eye. It's going to be rocking, but this should be a stellar matchup between 2 legendary teams and coaching staffs as well.
The last time these 2 teams met in the playoffs, Cam, I had the privilege of calling said game. Arizona was on a Cinderella run in the playoffs. They came in as a wild card team in a 7-5 season. They take down opponents left and right. They meet Florida and lose by 7. This, not only for this season, but back in season 17, is a true revenge game. We already saw Fort Worth try and take some revenge out on Vancouver. That didn't work. But when you put Mighty RX and Eddie Gage in one stadium, who knows what'll happen? 2 great play calling minds defensively and offensively are going to be on display, and expect Ron Cochran and Ashley Jackson, the 2 quarterbacks for Florida and Arizona respectively, to have another duel at Fort Lauderdale.
And a good point by Fox in our community chat, exclusive to SFL players and members. The higher the seed or the lower the seed, the worse the result. Number 9 lost by 1 this week. Number 10 lost by 11, then 12, then 19. And it's it is interesting, right, Tyler? I mean, people talk about, well, we got to expand the playoffs because the team with the winning record got left out. But this weekend proved that not only were the home teams able to win all of these games, but the better the team in the regular season, the more convincing the victory. None better than Arizona last night.
Truly on display. And what can else be said? It's sucked to see Tulsa not make the playoffs this season. And again, if we had expanded like the league had past, half the teams in the league make the playoffs. We're talking about Tulsa playing in these playoffs and maybe having a shot, but it goes to show you expansion might not be the best thing for good competitive football. We saw that in spades throughout this wildcard weekend.
Yeah, unfortunately, the best game of the weekend was not here with our TV audience, Houston and Sioux Falls earlier today, but that's the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. And Fort Worth put up a good fight in the second half, made it a game, and they're obviously a quality team. Anytime, Tyler, you see a team not lay down and roll over in the second half and really make a game of it, they even shut Vancouver out in the second half. You know that was a really good team. They just did not have a good first half and came out flat, and it got them sent home. So next week, next Sunday night, same time, same place, Arizona and Florida. Tyler and I will be back here for that matchup. Chris Curtis and Aaron Alexander will have that call. We're looking forward to that game and all the quarterfinals next weekend. For all of us in the Simulation Football League, he's Tyler. I'm Cameron Irvine. Thank you for joining us. It's the SFL presented by APM Music on Next Level Sports, and we'll see you guys and gals next weekend. Have a great week, everybody.